it my way then. There you are. Let's go and take a look at all this, shall we? Give me just a moment. We're gonna move you up here. Here and over here, and move you over here. Give me just a moment. There we are. Move you down here, over here. Alright, let's see here. What do we have? That was 2 months ago. 3 minutes ago. 3 minutes ago. Theo Joe, why not?
I've been paying into Social Security since I was 17. I'm counting on it when I retire. Larry Chavez, Doreen.
Why didn't you read?
Alright, we're gonna, you know, I'm tired of this. I'm like, they're not paying me for that shit, so I'm turning it on. I don't give a shit. You're not paying me or shit, so.
Well, it's finally here. The annual major Windows 11 feature update. This time
They're
it's
literally-
version.
And I know they're gonna get pissed off. Like, yeah, you're not, pay me, not them. I don't get
24
paid
H2,
at all.
and it is pretty substantial. As usual, it's going to be
You're
a
basically
staged rollout.
You're stealing money from me.
It's not going to be immediate for everyone, but you can prioritize yourself to get it if you go into the Windows Update settings and then select get the latest updates as
Y'all want to know something really funny? Watch this. Look at this shit. I don't even have the fucking update. So all this shit they're
Soon as
saying
they're
is like, "Oh, I have 24H2." It's like, no, you fucking don't. It's not even released yet.
available. Though apparently some of the features that are being touted as being in the new update actually were released recently, so you might actually still have a couple of these. I'll try to mention the ones that I noticed when we get to them. First of all, probably the most obvious
Like,
change
honestly,
is in the
I'll never
context menu.
understand it.
It'll now show little labels next to the cut, copy, and paste symbols. I think that's a welcome change. Next up, here's a feature that I think is possibly the biggest one in years, and that is you can now compress and extract from archives other than zip files. If you right-click a file or folder, you'll see a menu option to compress to, and here at the moment there's 3 options. You can do 7-zip, zip, or tar files, and additional options which we'll look at in a second, but you can actually extract from way more archive types like RAR files. You just can't create as many. But I will point out, I think this actually rolled out in a recent update. You might not have to have 24H2 to get this, so you might have that right now. Anyway, if you do click additional options, you'll see a create archive menu where you can customize even more settings for what kind of archive. For example, there's even more specific archive formats of the tar variety, and even different compression methods you can choose, and compression levels and other stuff like that. Now, if you're like me and you disabled the new context menu and use the old one, you'll notice that there is no compress to option. But I was able to figure out how to add it to the old context menu using a registry tweak. I posted the tweaks on GitHub. If you want, I'll put the link in the description, and basically just download the zip file using this button, and then you can run one of the registry reg files. I made 2 different versions. The full menu one just looks the same with the submenu and stuff like that, or there's the non-full menu version, which just goes immediately to the create archive menu. And to use it, all you do is double click the registry file, hit yes, and then you'll have to restart Windows Explorer, like through the task manager, and then it'll show up. And I also added a couple remove registry files that will undo the things that it added if you want to remove it later. All right, moving on, there's a few changes in File Explorer. These first two I think you might actually have access to right now. The first one being you can now right-click tabs and hit duplicate tab, which I think is a welcome change. And you can also now drag files and folders onto the breadcrumb bar, like if you want to move a file up one level out of the current folder. And another kind of random change is now in the properties for PNG image files, you can now edit the EXIF metadata of more types. Before you could really only change the date taken, but now you can edit a lot more like author, stars, stuff like that you can see. Up next, there's a new thing called Energy Saver, which replaces the previous Battery Saver, though it's kind of similar. They changed the name because now you can use this even if you have a desktop non-battery powered device, or even if you're plugged in. You can just always conserve energy if you want. Next, this is a behind the scenes change, but ARM-based computers running Windows 11 ARM version should see improvements in performance and compatibility thanks to a new translation emulation layer that's called Prism. If you don't know what any of that means, don't worry about it. It's just for different CPU types like Snapdragon, or if you run on Mac emulated with M1 Max, stuff like that. And also, it turns out Microsoft is now going to be posting ISOs for the ARM version of Windows soon. Real quick, before we continue, I want to give a shameless plug to my truly hysterical Instagram account. For God's sake, don't go there if you have a heart condition. You'll die of laughter or die of cringing from my attempts at humor. I try to post cool and dumb stuff on there, mostly as stories, but check it out. It's just @TheoJoe over on Instagram. All right, moving on. Another significant feature is sudo for Windows, or at least for some people. If you've ever used Linux, you basically know what this is. Basically, it lets you escalate the privileges of a specific command in the command prompt. This would need to be enabled in the developer settings. If you don't know what this would be used for or why you would use it, do not enable it. There are potential risks involved in terms of giving bad guys another option if it's configured.
So, is the reason why it's not updated to 24H2 is because that I'm the admin of my own computer that doesn't need any security checks. That's kind of fucked up, honestly.
Configured in certain ways. So if you know what you're doing, it's fine, but if you don't need it, don't enable it. It doesn't add any new special powers or let you run as super admin or anything. It basically just saves you the step of having to open a new admin command prompt window. All right, next up, this one's interesting. Windows 11 now has support for HDR wallpapers. And it seems like at the moment, it's gonna have to be a JXR or JPEG XR file type, which are pretty rare. And you have to have HDR enabled for it to work. Though Microsoft at one point did post a zip file with some sample HDR photos. If you want to try it out, I'll put a link to that in the description. Unfortunately, on Windows, HDR just in the desktop environment looks pretty bad in general, or at least in my experience. Though if you do want to try it, one tip is be sure to use the Windows HDR calibration app that Microsoft has in the Microsoft Store and use that. It'll at least improve it a lot, but still just be aware it's not that great yet. Here's another behind the scenes change that I think is a pretty big deal, and that is Windows is now changing the way that updates are handled, because it's now going to start using what are called checkpoint cumulative updates. Previously, each of the monthly cumulative updates that Windows gets, they would include all the changes and changed files that had changed since the previous major release, not just since the previous update. And this was even for files that maybe hadn't changed since the previous update of the month earlier. So by the end of the year, you'd have a year's worth of update files in the update, so the download sizes would just grow and grow. But now the updates are able to only include the changed stuff from the previous monthly update, so it can be a lot smaller downloads. They should download faster and use less bandwidth. Apparently also it will allow for so-called hot patches, which will not even require restarting Windows some of the times, but that won't be for all of them. All right, the next few we can go through kind of rapid fire. Now Windows will support Wi-Fi 7. I made a whole video talking about why Wi-Fi 7 is a lot better. You can watch that if you want later. Also in the quick settings that pops up from the taskbar, you'll now scroll through these instead of it just being one big panel. So it looks a bit more compact and you can access all the things. Although strangely, you can't remove any of them. Like you can't edit it anymore, which I think is weird because I would like to be able to just remove the Energy Saver one, for example, because I'm never going to use that on my desktop. Next, another thing to be aware of is for fresh installs of Windows, BitLocker will be enabled automatically, not for upgrades, but for new installs. Just be aware of that. Next, if you do ever go to install Windows using ISO, so you boot to it, there's a new interface for the installation flow, just looks a bit more modern. For example, you have this thing for, I would like to install Windows 11 or repair my PC. It now looks like this, although you can also go back to the old setup interface if you want. Now, another feature that I saw mentioned, but I couldn't really figure out how to see if it is actually working, is voice clarity. This should be enabled by default. It might just be a background thing, but apparently now microphones and stuff, they'll try to automatically filter out background noise. Looking into it further though, it apparently will only be on certain devices and would show up as a studio effect in the settings, though none of my devices seem to have it. Now, there's also some built-in apps that have been removed. Some of them you might be happy about. For example, finally, Cortana is gone. You could already uninstall Cortana, but now if you update, it'll be automatically removed for you. Also, WordPad has been removed, not to be confused with Notepad. That's still there. WordPad was like a different one not a lot of people knew about. That's gone now. Unfortunately, I thought it was pretty neat. And also, Windows Mixed Reality has been removed. That was for like virtual reality headsets if you wanted to have like a desktop environment. It never really caught on. So if you use mixed reality, you might not want to upgrade. Finally, here's a bunch of random little changes. Some of them are cool. Task Manager now has a new icon. You can look at the difference of the before and after. Also, behind the scenes, the Windows kernel now has parts of it written in Rust. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it, but possibly Windows might be more stable in general going forward as they add more stuff like that. Also, Windows now supports SHA-3 hashing algorithms, although I think that might have been added a while ago too. I'm not really sure. Windows now also supports Emoji 15.1, the latest one. That has a few new emojis like the shaking head, up and down ones. Here's another one that not many people are talking about. Now, if you go to the properties of any file, you'll now see the digital signatures tab for all files, even for ones that aren't signed, and also it'll now show cabinet type signatures. I'm not gonna get into what that means, just realize there were some types of signatures that weren't showing up before, but now they do. I did also make a whole video about that I can put a link to if you want to watch it afterwards. And here's a cool little new feature in the registry editor actually. You can now search within a specific subtree, so you don't have to search the entire registry for stuff if you don't want. There's just this new checkbox you can see that comes up in the search box. And another change that might have already been rolled out, the lock account button has now been moved to the power button along with shutdown and restart. And also the account switcher thing looks a bit different. You can no longer quickly switch between account types like you could before. I guess you have to go back to the lock screen to do that now.
Actually, all you have to do is this. That's all you have to do.
So I think that pretty much covers it. Let me know down in the comments which of these is your favorite, or if I missed any big ones, definitely let me know, and also check down there because someone probably did mention one that I did miss. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a big giant thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm, and again, consider checking out my Instagram. It's just @TheoJoe. If you want to keep watching, I'll put a couple links here to the videos I mentioned talking about Wi-Fi 7 and then that cabinet signatures thing. You can just click on either of those right there. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
What's up guys, Scotty here. I'm back with my friend Big Jiggly Panda, and today we're back with some good old-fashioned TikToks.
Should I add anything to the intro?
You've heard of Elf on the Shelf. What?
Okay, I'm not watching that. Nah. Alright, let's see here.
Despite Surfshark VPN not having decades of experience in the VPN industry, it already managed to position itself as a major player in the VPN industry, and it's especially known for being easy to use. In today's Surfshark review, I'll answer the question, is Surfshark good for both novice and advanced users alike? So stay tuned. Let's start with the most important factor of a cybersecurity tool, security and privacy. Right off the bat, Surfshark ticks all the boxes for a trustworthy VPN provider. And no wonder, after all, Surfshark is one of the safest providers in the industry. The VPN connection is concealed.
I need to mention, for those who don't know, Surfshark was hacked like last year, and they took their actual server IP, the one that handles all the stuff, so it's not safe. It's not, so just thought I'd throw that out there. Someone posted their actual IP in a Discord before they got banned. So I can tell you straight up, it's not safe. That's why I don't use it. Let's see here. What's interesting to watch? What is this?
Today, AMD's finally making some changes. Intel confirms next-gen release. AMD's getting rid of everything, and here we go.
It makes it look exciting, too.
NVIDIA.
Dude, just freaking show
Welcome
it!
everyone to Gamer Meld. Okay, it's news time, and first up for today, AMD recently released a new driver. And this one comes with a new tool that's not made for gamers.
I know people are gonna fucking swarm this because it's like, oh, it's AMD. AMD! I don't use AMD, I use Intel
Though
because
it
it's
will
more,
likely
I'm
help
more used
them.
to it.
It's actually made for developers. As you can see right here in this announcement, it says
Yeah, no, thank you. My goodness. Oh my god, thumbnails, I swear. Uh, I clicked I clicked the wrong one. Whoops. Let's see here. Let's keep going down the rabbit hole, shall we? Down the rabbit hole we go. Come on, give me something that's good. This is new.
Dispatch 1044 Spikes just took me out of the chase.
Downed unit reports 1044 deploying spikes. All units stay alert.
I'm gonna need help. I just lost contact with my suspect.
Copy that. Continue on last known. Advise of sightings. Over.
Did they make this? Because this game's been dead for a long time.
All units, we need you to shut down the suspect ASAP.
I feel like they made this because, like, the game's been dead for some time. No one's
Welcome to Need for Speed Rivals
like,
Plus mod.
you can play it,
The
but it's
5.0
like
version
not
makes
active
Rivals
enough
much better than before.
for people to be like, oh look,
In this video,
Need for
we'll
Speed
focus in depth on
Rivals.
what 5.0 has to offer. Buckled your seats? Let's get it started.
I'm more used to the screen
Number
being up
one,
here than down here.
graphics.
Actually,
In 5.0, expect many changes regarding the graphics, like the much improved HBAO. E3 road reflections.
wait a minute. If it's saying that they can only be seen in certain areas, wouldn't that mean they're Pokemon? So this game is literally Pokemon, where you obtain cars that run around in only specific areas. Yeah, I'm gonna make fun of it because it's funny. Like, bruh, what the heck?
2 times higher game resolution, but don't worry, the 200% resolution will be as an add-on. Number 2. E3, Beta, and Gamescom. What Rivals Plus version wouldn't get new stuff from earlier builds of Rivals? Now in 5.0, you might see the beautiful font from E3, as well as E3 Cop HUD while free roaming. Let's also not forget about the car chassis texture from E3. Meanwhile, for Beta, the Racer HUD has been further improved, looking more beautiful and accurate than ever before. And last but not least, Gamescom. Rivals Plus mod was able to bring back Gamescom event textures for race and hot pursuit events. Number 3. Multiplayer. For the first time ever, Rivals Plus will be compatible with multiplayer, making the gameplay even more enjoyable without any minor issues during online sessions, such as the UI health bug. Number 4. Police and pursuits. The pursuit system has been tweaked again, but only a bit in 5.0, as now instead of Dodge Viper Enforcer showing up during pursuit, the undercover version appears. Speaking of undercover, most UC cars got the new official manufacturer paint job to make it even more undercover and to mislead racers into
Give me a second, I need to go block someone because they're being so annoying.
that a racer is driving from a distance. And since that's the case, the police badge is now less visible on the UC variants than on other versions like Patrol or Enforcer, You have to drive much closer to the UC car to see the police badge and its health. Now, when it comes to the cooldown timer, it has been reduced from 50 seconds to 40.
I am going to run
Number 5.
circles around
Artificial
this thing.
intelligence. The main problem that people were having about the mod is that as a cop, the AI racers in Tier 3-4 are too hard and too overpowered for casuals. I hear you all, and your voices have been 100% heard. As in 5.0, the AI racers doing hot pursuits and interceptors are easier to...
Alright, it's not giving me any like new like HUD stuff or anything that I actually want, so we're gonna move on. I need to mention there's a difference between criticizing and actual hate speech. Like if someone's criticizing you're able to take that shit. But if someone's outright blatant being a dick to you and like, you know, saying you're a piece of shit over and over and over and over, that's hate speech. That's the difference between criticizing and hate speech. Like someone tells you, hey, here's how you can do it better. You should do it better, or else you're a piece of shit. That's criticism. Someone calling you names constantly? No, that's not criticism, that's hate speech. People need to learn the difference. Don't care. What is this? About this Bruh, do people not realize shit ain't free online? Come on, guys.
Windows 11 as my main operating system for about a month now, and I've been using my unattended Winstall
I need to make sure, do not take any advice this guy says, at all.
version of Windows 11. And although I find it much better to use Windows 11 without all of the bloatware and unnecessary stuff running in the background, there are still some things I don't like about
Also, notice how this guy is using AMD and not an Intel Core processor. That's not the same with an Intel Core processor.
Windows 11, and that is the taskbar, start menu, and right-click menu. Now the good news is there are a lot of programs that you can use to replace the shell in Windows 11, and that's what the next few videos are going to be about on my channel. If you want to check out the other videos, go ahead and look at the description of this video, and I'll have all of those videos linked in a playlist that you can go ahead and watch. And the software that we're going to be having a look at today is called Windhawk. And Windhawk is basically like a modding interface where you have a collection of customizations that you can add to Windows and some programs. So we're going to be downloading it, and I'll show you how to use it in this video. To download it, you can just visit this webpage here and then click on download. And I'll obviously have this linked in the description of the video as well. It'll download the file. If you do get any prompts, just click on keep, so you can keep that file there. Then click on open file, and that's going to launch the Windhawk installer. You have a few options here. You can do a standard installation, which will install Windhawk for all users on the computer, or you can extract a portable version of Windhawk, and in that case all the configuration data will be stored in the application folder and no information is going to be written to the registry of the computer. Now for this video I'm just going to use the standard installation method. If you do get any prompts, just click on yes. I'm going to leave the default selected here, but you can also change that if you want. Then just click on next, and then it's going to start installing and downloading any necessary dependencies that's needed for it to run. Then once it's finished, you can run Windhawk, and I'm just going to click on finish, and then it should open automatically. So this is what the interface looks like. You can click on the Explore tab up here to browse for more mods, and here you can also see the mods are basically listed from the most popular to the least popular, or with the most amount of users to the least amount of users. There's a few of these mods that I want to show you in this video specifically because we're having a look at replacing the taskbar and start menu on Windows 11.
Alright,
so
we're gonna move on before someone actually takes this guy's advice. Trust me, don't do it unless you actually know what you're doing. Mudahar, let's see, why do you not trust Opera GX? Let's go.
To give you an idea, Opera's first release was April 10th, 1995. Today's video is brought to you by our friends over at Brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever wanted to just learn something in a fun, effective
I'll let
way
him
without
plug
watching
his
just a boring
sponsor.
lecture video on the internet that probably puts you to sleep faster than anything else, well, that's where our friends over at Brilliant are here, with actual content that is crafted by an award-winning team of teachers, researchers, professionals from MIT to Caltech to Duke to Microsoft, all the way to Google. Critical thinking is an incredibly important part about learning, and not only just problem solving as well. These are very important pillars. Some people think memorizing is the only thing you have, but the reality of it is Brilliant provides you tons of options at your own pace, really. So whether you're a beginner to a topic or an absolute advanced expert, then you will have an entire course and challenge tailored to you. Developing a powerful learning habit is an absolute important part. It's like working out. You got to learn a little bit every day and you got to build yourself up. And there's a bunch of lessons available. You can look at things like data science. You can look at programming. You might even want to learn how LLMs work in an AI as well. And of course, thinking about where to start might be the first obstacle you have to cross. To try everything Brilliant has to offer for a free full 30 days, check out brilliant.org/SOG or just click the link in the description. And you'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. That said, let's head into the video. Today's video is centered around Opera GX, ladies and gentlemen, a deep dive into one of the most popular gaming internet browsers that is currently available. Now, to give you an idea, Opera is a company that has been around since the mid-90s, really, since the beginning of the internet for the general user. To give you an idea, Opera's first release was April 10th, 1995, meaning that it is almost as old as me, ladies and gentlemen, 30 years old myself. So me and Opera, we grew up in the same sandbox, so to speak. Now, you probably know a lot about Opera GX from its saucy brand account, where they absolutely roast the Payday 3 player base, the remaining few that there are, and unironically call Sneeko an entire cuckold. So again,
guys. Can I mention, Opera GX isn't that bad, but you should never use it with any other browsers installed. The reason I say that is because it's really bad on performance. People will be like, oh, but I use it for performance. Don't do that. Don't do that. Nah, not good. Bad. Bonk. Don't do that. Don't use it for performance. It's shit.
This might be a big positive for some people that a gaming community browser is topped this hard into the community. And of course, if you can appreciate a little bit of that edginess, it's right there waiting for you. But again, you've probably also seen your favorite content creators talk about...
So the reason why you're seeing me use Microsoft Edge is because it's built into the system and it loads quicker than Google Chrome, Firefox, Opera, Brave, and any other browser. It's literally built into the system. You get it as soon as you get Windows. What is this?
Yes.
Yeah, no thank you.
About Opera GX's browser.
Pause. I'm gonna get my coffee. My secondary coffee.
Its GX Corner functionality, the ability for you to limit certain functionalities to get, I assume, better performances, and you've probably seen massive collaborations with...
Also, for those who are wondering, I'm only supposed to stream from Monday to Friday, but, you know, I might as well just make a little bit of recording. I'm not going for an hour, so, you know, But anyways, if you guys enjoyed this, drop a like button. If you guys want to see more, hit that subscribe button. If you guys want to follow me on Twitch, that's fine too. Share with your friends if you're new. I don't know. Anyway, peace out, guys. We're only going for 30 minutes today, so